Boom, snap, clap, a boom, snap, clap, yeah. Yeah. Clapping, yeah.
Why is this in my face? I'm the star! Who wants to talk about chakras?
No, I want to talk about drugs. Let's talk about drugs. I'm doing drugs. You're doing drugs.
Oh, man. You're making that coffee look... You're making them drugs look good, dog.
Drugs are good, man.
You're doing drugs.
I think drugs are good. There's Fuck it. We could jump in on that note.
There's a problem with calling things drugs.
There is a problem with calling things drugs because I think
all
of
things
us...
drugs. All things drugs. Or, wait.
Well, I think all of us either know someone, family or friend or personally, who has struggled with drugs. So it's like one of those subjects where everybody feels like they have a
story.
Like everybody can connect to it in a way. But then at the same time, people will just leave it at that, and they'll be like, "Oh no, my best friend or family member, they ruined their life with drugs." And it's like, all right, well,
what about all the legal stuff that's technically a drug that people ruin their lives with, but they don't view themselves as a drug because it's legal?
Let's pull it up on the Google, because this is what everybody goes by. Let's pull up what is a drug. A medicine or other substance which has a physiological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. So that could be anything, a medicine or substance. I think that the problem becomes most people start to differentiate drugs between whether they're good or bad is by whether they're legal or illegal, because our loving government would only make a substance illegal if it was dangerous, right?
Right.
So something that could kill you, like alcohol, wouldn't just be sold on every corner market, right?
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
It totally is, though, and it's legal. And then you have drugs like this, which are legal as fuck.
And I also don't want you to think that we're trying to say make our shit legal, make yours legal. Like, no, I just think it's really silly that you could smoke weed in some places and get put in a cage, but you can go to the store and buy alcohol.
Well, especially if you just drive over a state line here in the United States, then all of a sudden you're not going to be put in the cage for the weed all over again.
Hey, man, you crossed the line. You crossed that invisible mark in the dirt. We got our sign here. Now it's Nevada. You can't do that shit. Well, now you can.
Yeah, actually, they just legalized it. Yeah. You know, I just seen Oregon, I think I'm going to pull it up so I'm not full of shit. Oregon legislature passes bill to decriminalize cocaine, meth, and heroin. This was posted 11 hours ago. So that's really what I think we need to get down to in the country as a whole. It's the same thing that Portugal did, is decriminalize all drugs, because right now what we're doing in the country is we're making drug addicts criminals.
Right.
And using a drug is such a natural thing. It's as natural as a human instinct as eating food, having sex, having these experiences. Like, doing drugs is just right there with all of them. That's why we all do drugs. It's just...
Well, when you said that you put people in cages for doing drugs, it's kind of fucked up when you think about it, because a lot of people just have it's an issue. It's like a mental health issue to an extent. Not saying like you're hearing voices and shit, but there was a study I shared it on Facebook, and Maps posted, so check them out, give credit to them. But the Guardian was writing an article about how they're doing the first trials for MDMA to help cure alcoholism, because they realized that MDMA had a good recovery rate with PTSD in soldiers. Yes. And they're starting to realize that a lot of, not everybody, but a lot of addiction is caused by trauma. And they're hoping that if they can get to the root of the trauma, then it can help cure the addiction. So there's these people that have a problem that need help, and we're just like, lock them in a cage. Which is
the majority of people. So before we get too far into how beneficial some of these illegal drugs are, I think we should kind of cover how drugs have been made illegal in the United States. Because in 1970, they passed the Controlled Substances Act, which just basically made almost all drugs, whatever you want to call them, drugs, illegal outside of alcohol and these pharmaceutical pills and stuff. So just to kind of just to paint a little more clearer picture here, they separated it into 5 schedules. So there's Schedule 1 substances, Schedule 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right. A Schedule 1 substance...
One thing the worst, if you didn't know that.
Schedule 1 is defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. And then as you go down, they become more accepted medical use and less potential for abuse. So as you go down the list, exactly, they become... as far as how the DEA, because this is coming from the DEA government website.
Loving people.
Yeah, this is how they've categorized these things. So according to the DEA, some of the Schedule 1 substances include LSD, psilocybin, cannabis, and MDMA.
Huh.
So let me repeat, none of these have any accepted medical use according to the DEA's their government website.
That's why they love us, man. They wouldn't lie.
So that's why it gets really weird when you're talking about how it's going into MDMA is going into the first clinical trial to treat alcoholism
And trauma.
It just went into the third clinical trial to treat PTSD for veterans.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of y'all know this, but once something gets past the third clinical trial, boom, it's right up in there with the stores with everything else you can get a prescription for. So MDMA for PTSD for veterans
It's gonna be pretty.
It's on its last little step there to become legal. And I'm pretty sure psilocybin is in its first clinical trials. Don't quote me on that one, but
I think
these
it's
things
starting.
are all
They're starting,
being recognized.
and the
I mean,
government's refusing.
they're all still Schedule 1. And I mean, cannabis, I can't even begin to start getting into studies and citing stuff because
I think that's pretty. I think
it's
that's
so obvious.
It's like, I think it's pretty obvious for most people. And if you don't, fuck you. I'm kidding. But
no, I agree.
No, yeah, fuck you.
I agree because then their website. Let's go on here. Schedule 2.
I was so confident, dude. No, that was some. We were talking about it on the phone. I knew a lot of this. But when you read it on paper, it's so much more frustrating.
Right.
Because the Schedule 1 where you're saying no medicinal yet, they're finding all these things that help. First off, the government will lie about what can help the people that are fighting their wars.
For real, it's for PTSD for veterans.
They're like, nah,
and they're like, no accepted medical
no,
use.
fuck you. But then you go to like Schedule 3 and it's like cocaine.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into.
Yeah.
Schedule 2 is cocaine, methamphetamine, Adderall, Ritalin. So that means that these are less problematic than cannabis and MDMA and mushrooms? Like, how the hell is that possible?
Prescriptions are killing more people than anything right now.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Statistics are constantly changing depending on what year, what country you look up and everything. So we recommend don't just listen to us. Look into the statistics yourself and look into the overdose rates for Schedule 3 substances like Vicodin, Schedule 4 substances like Xanax, Somas, and then look up Schedule 1.
So that's not what we're trying to say. Because, I mean,
Right.
pure clean coca leaves, they've been shown to have medicinal. But it's just abuse and what other things are. Because people are trying to make them more addictive.
Well, and it's when they want to, when they're confidently putting on their website that these are... have a less potential for abuse and higher accepted medical use than cannabis or MDMA, then it's not true. And more people are figuring that out on their own, so it's just making them look like liars in front of everyone. It's like, hey, just admit that you were wrong, or don't even admit that you're wrong. Just change it and don't say shit.
It's just money, though, man. I think
Yes. If you look into who's lobbying to keep cannabis illegal, it's pharmaceutical companies, alcohol companies, private prisons, and police unions.
Yeah, because it's just jobs, easy money.
It breaks my heart to say this, but sometimes I look at the Schedule 1 substances that... these are the ones that people get in the most trouble for. Cannabis, LSD, mushrooms, MDMA. And I think they're the ones that make people the most peaceful and least resistant. And they're kind of looking at it as easy prey. They're like, you know what? These are the easiest drug addicts to fucking pick up and lock up because they're already so peaceful and easygoing. And it fucking breaks my heart that that's the way it works.
Well, especially too once you start realizing that marijuana or psychedelics, especially like a lot of psilocybin studies have been shown that it helps with past trauma or childhood or chronic depression. Yeah. And so then you're gonna put someone in a cage for 7 years for trying to figure out how to just operate in this world properly. They might be suicidal every day, and yet they're trying to chase that happiness.
Psilocybin really helped me with depression. And that's obviously a personal thing. Yeah, and when I try to get through to people that it can help them with treat depression or alcoholism, things like that, I've gotten from people, they say, so you're telling me I should use a drug to stop using a drug. Exactly. And when it's phrased like that, I get it sounds silly. But crazy. Here's what I recommend people do. Just Google these words. Google psilocybin addiction treatment. Now, if you Google that, it sounds like you're Googling something to treat my addiction for psilocybin, right? If you Google that, all you will find is studies showing how psilocybin helped people treat addiction. There's nothing out there to help people get off of psilocybin, because that doesn't happen.
No,
What there is websites telling people how it helps people get off of addictions. If you look up cocaine addiction treatment, rehabs are going to pop up, treatments are going to pop up. You put psilocybin addiction treatment, it's just, hey, this will help you stop smoking. It'll help you stop drinking. It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing I've noticed about plant medicines too, is that they don't necessarily make everything magically better right away, but they show you what you need to do to make it better in the long run. Like I feel like if you take Vicodin, like I don't want to say forever, but just for me, I feel like if I'm really hurt and if I'm just taking Vicodin, that's almost like masking it. And I could keep walking my pain, and I'm just not doing it. Where I take weed or mushrooms, I feel like it really makes me like, oh man, I'm in pain. I really just need to lay. I really need to stretch. I need to relax more. And it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm magically better. It's more like, no, dude, you need to put in some work to make yourself better.
It shows you the steps you need to take to
when it's
feel
like
better.
that, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man how to fish, he eats for a lifetime.
Right.
I feel like that's what psychedelics and mushrooms, or weed, sorry. Weed's technically psychedelic, mild psychedelic, but some people get mad when you say that. But
I
they
agree
teach
with
you how
that
to fish.
100%.
They teach you got to fish. You can't just walk around asking everyone for fish. And that's what pain pills, to an extent, I feel like some people when you're abusing them.
Yeah, and
like,
alcohol as well.
Yeah,
I drink alcohol from time to time. It's fun, but a lot of people do use it to just block stuff out. I think that growing up, people would tell me, people use, like my dad especially, he's into Narcotics Anonymous, so he'd tell me people use drugs to escape reality. And I think that's true about certain drugs, and I think it's more true about the ones that are legal and less true about the ones that are Schedule 1 at the top of the list of being illegal. Like those drugs help you embrace reality. LSD, psilocybin, cannabis, they're going to really make you look at your reality and either embrace what it is or change it so that you can embrace what it is.